Greetings and welcome to this informative video where we shall delve into the details of our 820 PCB control unit. This particular unit possesses the capability to entirely and comprehensively replace a CAME Z3 control unit that is no longer in production. So, what exactly is it? Certainly, it is indeed a compatible control unit. Now, let us meticulously examine what we genuinely mean by the term compatible, so we can elucidate and dispel some prevalent misconceptions that tend to arise within this specific category of control unit. It is frequently assumed that compatible products are those that come to the assistance of systems where the manufacturer no longer readily or logically provides the possibility to replace a particular component. For example, when the manufacturer ceases to supply a control unit in the marketplace, and the unit that is intended to replace the discontinued one might not be easily accessible. So, if we essentially have a malfunctioning Z3 control unit from CAME, what steps can we undertake? To begin with, I would like to provide a brief introduction regarding the content we are examining in this particular video. It is not an instructional video designed to enable you to repair your gate autonomously, nor is it a promotional video attempting to market a more affordable compatible control unit as an alternative to another. We have already clarified our definition of compatible. We refer to a cost-effective product intended to economize on the original, as that would represent, shall we say, a distinct market segment. It is a product that serves as a replacement for the original when the original is no longer obtainable. So, who is the target audience for this video? In broad terms, for anyone necessitating the substitution of a CAME Z3, whether it be a technician or a retailer intending to sell it to their customer, if you have ample expertise, even private individuals, the essential factor is that you feel sufficiently knowledgeable and proficient to undertake the task. This is because this video does not offer guidance to the characteristics of the control unit for which we consider it to be compatible. Why did we develop it? Specifically because we wish to persist on the journey we have already initiated with compatible products. In other words, we aim to illustrate that a compatible product is not merely a low-cost item. Unfortunately, this myth, particularly in Italy, is very widespread, so when we refer to compatible products, also known as commercial products, we imagine that it is a product that costs little and is worth even less, allowing us to save compared to what the technician asks for. It is definitely not the case, as our products are procured by highly skilled technicians who specifically utilize them to enhance their work and deliver a superior service to the end customer. Otherwise, the customer might install a control unit on their system of a completely different nature, which may not even be what makes this control unit, ours 520, compatible with the Z3. The reality that the terminal blocks are currently positioned on the alternative left-hand side. You can clearly observe the one designated for the transformer, which remains absolutely identical. What enhances its compatibility, shall we express, is the fact that the terminal blocks are completely identical. Thus, we have compared them as outlined in the Z3 instructions and as detailed in our own instructions, merely to demonstrate that not only the number of terminals, but also the positioning of the terminals is identical. Logically, they do not possess the same names because otherwise it would be replicating a control unit. Consequently, we consider that in developing the new ones, they could be refined because the board possesses its own coding that is entirely shareable. Nevertheless, we have designated the terminals, which on the board are referred to as UWXY for the motors, as A pone for open 1, C, pone for closed 1, COM for common, AP2 and CH2, and terminals. Thus, essentially, you can detach the terminal block from the previous control unit and attach it to the new one, and the connections do not require redoing. The terminal that is observable for the antenna in the upper terminal block of the 03 model is likewise present in that of the 820. We did not incorporate it in this instance because we intended to underscore the fact that the more significant terminals are entirely identical in their positioning and also in the type of terminal block that is employed. This makes the control unit plugin compatible, meaning I can disconnect that terminal block and reconnect it. This does not mean that I should have no knowledge of the world of automation and think that as soon as I connect it, it works magically. It is not exactly like that. The control unit still requires programming. Even if it is a control unit equipped with deep switches and trimmers, it still necessitates programming. And I must possess the ability to comprehend the programming I am undertaking and what the position of the deep switch dictates in one scenario or another. What exactly constitutes our advanced control unit? Subsequent to the creation of a compatible control unit, we resolved to augment the diagnostic capabilities, which implies that it now integrates LEDs that display the status of the control unit's inputs. The diagnostics function in a conventional manner, signifying that if the input is of the normally closed NC type, for safety considerations, my LED ought to be illuminated if the circuit to which it is connected is operating correctly. What does this indicate? It indicates that for the inputs, such as FCH and FAP, which function as the photocells for both closing and opening operations, there exists a problem with the circuit. As a result, the control unit will understandably not commence. By default, this small tutorial-like indication means I should have the Saint LED, the FCA LED, and the FCA LED, which is therefore the FAP indicator, lit up to indicate that the control panel is not functioning. Therefore, the control unit is not operational. My control unit is functioning properly. Regarding the normally open inputs, which are the ones that trigger the commencement, such as open, close, partially open, start, those that you observe illustrated as normally open inputs, the LED illuminates solely when the input closes. Consequently, those in the opposite condition indicate that there is an issue present with the circuitry connected to that specific input. Therefore, diagnostic LEDs and configuration DIP switches become relevant. Now, concerning the configuration DIP switches, I would like to emphasize one particular aspect, which is that a substantial portion of the DIP switches are the same. The union between the two control panels, the Z3 and ours. However, it is necessary to read what the dip indicates and why it is in that position. Alright? So I can't just copy it and expect everything to work magically. I still need to thoroughly examine each individual DIP switch to ascertain its specific function and decide whether I desire that particular function or not, or whether I prefer it configured in one manner or another. This, consequently, facilitates the process of replacement. Certainly, you will comprehend on your own that if I already spared myself the entire wiring section, we are discussing approximately an hour of labor conserved if everything proceeds smoothly, because if I lose track of a wire, then it becomes a complete disaster. Hence, therein lies the compatibility, both from the viewpoint of the terminal block and mechanically, due to it being of identical dimensions. Consequently, I am able to position it in the same manner. We can confidently assert that the SWITE 120P is entirely compatible with the Z3 from CAME without resorting to extremes, meaning without assuming that I merely take the central unit, place it there, connect the terminal blocks, and everything functions logically without me verifying, among other aspects, anything in the programming. Should you find yourself intrigued by this specific product, you can effortlessly navigate to our official website. Alternatively, if you are a retailer or distributor, you are warmly invited to contact us via the provided email addresses such as shop points. We would like to gently remind you that we are presently recording this in the midst of July 2025. We have only just recently launched the product and are in the process of progressively introducing bulk purchasing options on our website, which will automatically apply a discount to your basket depending on the quantity you choose to purchase. This is remarkably practical and exceedingly convenient for both retailers and distributors, in the sense that you can effortlessly communicate with Com.Juliet Shop to request an evaluation of a product that you might not find listed on the website, or a particular assessment if you utilize products regularly and continuously, where various commercial discussions can potentially be conducted. For now, I say goodbye and thank you. See you in the next video.